that thing totally backfired.
Like it totally backfired on them.
Totally backfired.
So, for me, you cannot come and tell me that this was an arrest that was mistakenly done while you've been tracking people using their phones.
You know, Mika, I think part of the reason why governments, especially this one, has been getting away with murder is because of always people giving them the benefit of doubt. And that needs to stop because people have been killed.
Correct.
People have popped up mysteriously in quarries, you know, and especially those people who are caught on the lawn of the parliament, the day when people breached the parliament perimeters. A lot of those people got killed. Now, there was the guy who said, Mr. Speaker, sir, that guy...
Kenyans didn't really hold Uhuru on a high standard in terms of him being as a president and that, right? And then they see that the narrative of Ruto becoming president he was done wrong by Uhuru, like walikosana walikuwa wametupwa kando, right? So he's trying to push that, and then he's trying to push that narrative of killing the Murima power or togetherness. So he's trying to push that narrative of trying to find an enemy that people can unite against, and that enemy is going to be Murima.
Kenyan Jui here is saying ODM is not failing to read the room. They just have no tools in their toolkit to deal with this. It's Blockbuster trying to come up with never VHS cassettes to compete with this new Netflix thing.
New
Gen Z. But then you remember that does not seem to respond to the usual tropes of tribalism. And then Stephen JJ anasema Kalonzo atapitia katikati yao. Watermelon.
But ODM had the upper hand. When this started, all with Nani, what's his name? The senator, Sifuna. Yeah, they had an upper hand, right?
They did.
And even right now, juzi Sifuna litokea akaulizwa historia nini akasema like he was like
No, I know. Things have.
He was like mi historia nisijui. Mi niko kando kivyangu. But then the thing is, what I'm thinking is, Wiper fired Maalim immediately when he made that comment. They didn't wait, right? Like they're strategizing and they're putting themselves in winning position.
Yeah,
and then if you see the guys,
chess pieces.
Yeah, the guys who the guys they're trying to align with is younger people, not even older guys.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Ujama hii kuchakachaka tu hivi atavuka katikati yao because
yes, you know, like now 2027, you know, like is a wide open game. Now, first of all, we don't even know what's going to happen in 2024.
Do we even get to 2027 with these same players? Because the way things are playing out now with this whole let's recall the MPs and all of that, yes, it sounds difficult, sounds insurmountable.
It's not difficult. The Constitution has really clearly stated how things are supposed to be.
Yes, there are certain things you're supposed to do to get there, right?
It's the politicians who are trying to make it look there. You know, like the other day when Baba came out and said, you're saying Ruto go. If Ruto goes, Gachagua comes and implement his bad policy. So we already see there's a rift there between Ruto and Gachagua, right? And Baba is trying to come and tell us, like, Rigiji is a bad option. Chukweni hapa. The Gen Zs are not going to, I've said they're not falling for this ati mkona itakuwa kama sijui Uhuru na Ruto ati no. You are one and the same thing. You're both going together.
Correct.
Right?
Because you came in together.
Yeah. But then when he said that Ruto will go and there'll be a vacuum of power. There's not going to be a vacuum of power. The Constitution says clearly who's going to, if the government is dissolved, it clearly says who's going to rule the country for 60 to 9 and have to put an election. I have to call for an election between 60 and 90 days. Hakutakuwa na vacuum of power. Attorney General na Speaker watarule country for those 60 and 90 days to call a general election for voting.
So why do you think...
So they know that. So for Baba, who's a seasoned politician, to come and try to spew that kind of BS and saying that is how he's supporting Ruto. It actually turns around and make them both look pretty bad, and people realize that, you know what, you both of you just need to go. So the constitution is there. It's pointing out how things are supposed to go. It is the politicians who don't want. Limesema mara mob watu wengine behave nikawa hajasoma ikitu.
No, but again, it's
but ni kama wameisoma but wana so wanasema watu hajasoma. So the politicians are the ones who are trying to play politics, but the constitution is there.
Okay,
the government is anguka.
Omosh.
Yeah, you know, you said it right. It's politics, and like I said and alluded to earlier, the chess pieces. You move and put yourself in place and align, and if you're looking forward and thinking 2027, as well as, like you said, you know, lining your people, your party, and everything in the correct order, or should I say in a place that makes it such that when the opportunity comes, boom, you're there and you're in. And that's what these guys are doing. And like you said, you know, Kalonzo is looking, right now he's looking like he's the one who has been offended, right? And he's, hey, I'm on the right side of history. If you, no matter what you guys say, this and that. And Baba, even though he may not, in my opinion, he may not mean bad, he looks bad. And it's that one of, yani, it's perception.
No. He is bad.
No. All those stereotypes, you know, like they used to come from, you know, like people who've traditionally not liked Baba. You know, like, unfortunately, with this particular situation, are just coming to life. And you know, and one of those stereotypes.
It doesn't matter what you say, Omosh.
Yeah, and one of those stereotypes is that Baba ni mtu wa bahasha. You know, like you've had that stereotype.
Correct. Yes.
Baba ni mtu wa bahasha. As long as, you know, like he's given his bahasha, he'll do a handshake. He will do, you know, like anything that needs to be done. You know, that's his priority. You know, like trying to go in his brain. I think, you know, like I'm also gonna slightly agree with what Kenyan Diaspora said here. I think, you know, like it's kind of like maybe this is the last lap. I don't know whether it was Kenyan Diaspora Steven.
Last tour,
of a dying horse.
Yeah, so there's my people here who've been very loyal to me. This is the only opportunity
for me to put them forward.
To put them forward, to give them something. So I think I don't think it's a factor that they don't see what's happening, because this is very loud. And even, you know, even the blind can see what's happening.
But then those people could have positioned themselves, because the names we're hearing being thrown around, those names could have still positioned themselves in national politics. They're not small names.
They could have positioned themselves in national politics, but here's the issue with this new order that's coming in. There's not knowing, you know, like what the future holds. So they're thinking, how about we take this bird in hand right now? Because remember, when you're cabinet secretary, that's the chance. That's the biggest chance to loot and to enrich yourself.
Yeah. So basically, and that is that's what I'm saying. When Omosh is trying to say Sujeti, maybe he's not meaning. No, what you're saying is this: anybody who's jumping into the government right now clearly knows and understands that.
It's my turn to eat.
So I'm giving benefit of a doubt. I am giving benefit of a doubt. That's the horse that I'm sticking with.
You're sticking with it, but then
I would like to hear Moshe's point of view too.
Yes, but for me, my point of view is this. The reason people don't want this government, what is the main reason people don't want this government?
Because they made our life a living hell.
How?
By
overtaxing.
No, it's corruption, borrowing.
No.
The coffers being empty. These are the same thing. Corruption, yes.
Right? They're looting, corruption,
yes.
Right? And the reason this guy is sticking to his people and is sticking and wants things to remain the way they are, he's not even he's saying he wants to do dialogue, he's want to do, and then he said himself, I'm a banarambe kwa church. Then he goes and starts promising money to the church. So basically shows he's not going to change. So even if he adds new people, all he's doing is adding new people to shut up the noise. So if me and you decide to be going to steal from Bandio, right? And then people tell us stop stealing from Bandio. Then I said, ni Omosh ndo anafanyanga na kwa mbaya. Alafu naambia aliwe come replace Omosh. Na bado tunataka kuiba kwa Bandio. Na Ali anajulikana ni mtu mzuri. Ali unasema Ali atakatazamika siku anaiba. Ali akubali kukuja aende kwenda na mimi kuiba kwa Bandio. So you think Ali is gonna be a good person?
We assume-
amenejoin for good cause.
We assume.
Anajua nini
No,
namwitia.
but we assume. Again,
Yeah.
we assume. That's why I said, for me, I'm giving benefit of a doubt. But here, here's the thing, right? If we go back to original handshake with Kibaki, right?
Original was the Moi.
Okay, if that's what you want to call it, because to me, I didn't see any handshake happen.
Oh, that was a handshake.
To
was
me,
a handshake.
to me, I didn't see any handshake happen. But anyway, to me, when I'm looking at something that I could count, I could touch, was the one
for Kibaki.
the government of Kibaki, and that one we could see things that either worked or didn't work. Right? At the end of the day, there was things that were working within that government, even though they were pushing and pulling, and everybody agreed, you know what, this was the best time for Kenya, trade-wise, blah, blah, whatever. Things seemed to be working.
Yes.
And then after that, all hell broke loose.
But I'll
Right.
give you the difference between Kibaki's Raila coalition and this coalition with Ruto.
Okay.
At that time, the country was divided between, of course, Raila won the election, but the country was divided between Kibaki and Raila.
Okay.
The Kibaki had his supporters and Raila had his supporters. The country was, I would say at least 95% of the country was one of the two.
Okay.
But this time around, with what's happening right now, the country is not with
Either.
with either.
Okay.
So the country is not with either. So they don't have that legitimacy of having, popular support. Both sides, the president's side and Raila's side. Because, I'll speak about myself. I've been a Baba supporter for the longest time. And listen to how I'm speaking.
Okay.
And how I know this movement has been made, because if Ali is speaking like this, and maybe I'm one of those people who was willing to overlook a few issues that we had seen with Baba, but you see me speaking like this right now, that tells you that the ground has significantly shifted. And now when we go to the younger crowd, they are not even there. They've not even gotten there. The people under the age of 30, they're not even there of being a sycophant of this side or a sycophant of that side. Because a lot of these people who are protesting right now, these are people who voted for Ruto.
And then there's the same people. There's the same people.
I think most of them never voted.
No,
Okay.
No,
I think most of them never voted. Siko or Bayo.
Okay, a lot of them never
And the
voted.
reason why I say that,
a lot
is
of them
because-
never voted.
Okay, go ahead.
Fine, but the ones who voted are,
Kumbuka-
they're openly saying,
kumbuka-
I voted for Ruto.
Kumbuka
Okay.
Gen Zs wanatoka from 17 to 27. Sindio?
Gen Z,
Yeah, 27 though the oldest.
No, I think it's
27
from
the-
12. I think it's from age 15.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So 27 to the oldest, right?
2012 were the last Gen Zs.
27 to the oldest kwa hiyo group yao.
Yeah.
So hiyo inamaanisha kulikuwa na 9 years.
Well, they had the
9 years of
opportunity.
voting. So
They had opportunity to vote.
Don't assume they
And
don't
the
vote.
reason why I say that,
So-
again, to me, the reason why I say that is a lot of them are our nieces, our nephews, and stuff like
But
that.
then unajua nini,
Correct?
hapo unaongea na family
But-
dynamics zako.
But I think
But
where I
kumbuka
agree with Omosh,
Okay.
where I agree with Omosh is when you look at registration data, the people who are younger between your age, very few of them
Yeah,
registered.
very few of them registered, but
Very few of them registered
very few
to
of them
vote, and
registered,
very few voted.
but wengi wao
Yeah.
ni vile umesema walipigia Ruto.
Yes.
Wengi
Wala
wao-
waliregister
wale
The ones
wengi.
who registered and
Yeah,
voted,
walipigia Ruto.
correct.
Walipigia
Yeah.
Ruto, yeah.
So
Correct.
for them wakimruka awamruki just out of hearsay ama nini, wanamruka wakifeel betrayed.
because of things on the ground.
Yeah.
Things,
Wana-
I mean,
wanamruka
it
wakifeel betrayed.
tells you the ground
Yes.
is showing even us who,
So, and then-
voted.
and
I
then
know I voted. I didn't vote for him.
Hao wengine ndo so and then you see they actually them themselves are telling their parents hata tutaki nyinyi mkavote nyinyi angalia choices zenu vile ziko.
Ndio
Vile
tuweka hapa.
mnaona, yeah, so
Yeah.
and that is why it's even harder to complain because their parents ni watu wanaogopa fujo, ikiwa na fujo kidogo wanakimbia wanatoroka, ni like
Rightfully
they used
so.
to comfortable stuff.
Rightfully so. Mika. I mean, if we remember what we went through, or should I say what we saw happen to say our parents kwa hiyo rika yao, you know, coming up, kina Matiba, watu wa kufinywa nini, Nyati House, all of that, you know, those things are ingrained in heads of folks. And if you lived through that, those who saw 82 coup happen and even saw, you know, dead folks or whatever, those things are ingrained. 07 or 08 wale watu waliona hizo vitu, those things get ingrained. So you get to a point where unasema maze mimi sitaki,
wengi wao
hawajaona.
Actually wengi hawa 07 or 4 walikuwa watoto wadogo, walikuwa IDPs kani watoto wadogo. So wamejua uchungu ya kuumizwa na serikali kuanzia wadogo.
Aya, couple of comments here. Steven JJ anasema Kalonzo atapitia katikati yao kabisa, watermelon guy. And then Udi says Kalonzo gets bride and Raila just takes checks. Slay says, what I really pray for is that they would stop kidnapping and killing the youth. Protesting is not a bad thing, and it's not a crime. And no kidnapping and no killing. I agree. Baba should have stayed quiet. This was not the time. Initially, it looked like he read the room, but now it's starting to look out of place. Stephen JJ says, Omtata alitoa suggestion poa. Transition government. And the guys who form the transition will not be allowed to fight for the next elections. Most likely, hii ndio kitu ina happen. It's a transition gava, wanaingia kukula kabisa, knowing very well the Gen Zs want new faces. And then Washeke says Gen Z is equals to 12 to 27. Kenyan Jui says, I think we're overthinking this whole situation. The analogy Ali gave succinctly captured what is going on. All these politicians from both parties are the taxi drivers. They have woken up to an Uber nation. The country is not divided, and on the contrary, it has never been united as this before. I want to remind the listeners that you tuned into the One Mic Show, and I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawi. We are talking about President Ruto's reappointment of cabinet secretaries that he had recently dismissed following weeks of unrest in Kenya. I have the regular panel with me, Mr. One Mic. We have sports anchor Mika Och and resident DJ Omosh Fire. We'll share One Mic Amelala at approve kwa hajalala bado in the next segment maybe. We'll shortly be talking about an accusation towards the Ford Foundation by President Ruto on funding of the ongoing Gen Z demos in Kenya. Our lines are open. The number to call, 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Feel free to call in. Before we continue, I wish to remind our audience of a protest happening at IMF HQ2 at 1900 Pennsylvania Avenue in DC tomorrow, Saturday, July the 20th, from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. I'm going to repeat that again. Protest at IMF HQ2 at 1900 Pennsylvania Avenue in DC tomorrow, Saturday, July the 20th, from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm part of the organizing team, and the protest is to demand that the IMF bear responsibility for the 50-plus deaths following the demos to reject the IMF-inspired Kenyan Finance Bill of 2024. So right now, I'm going to confirm with each member of the panel if you're coming upper, live and direct, so that mtu asiseme sikuwa najua, sikuambiwa. So I'm going to start with you, DJ Omosh Fire. Are you coming tomorrow to the protest?
Why did you start with the guy who was asleep?
No, we're going to get to him. We're going to slowly get to him. Watch amke. Are you going to show up to the protest to IMF HQ2?
If I have petrol in the car.
Okay, so that means you're showing up. Mika?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, but at least Mika asha show up at least protest moja. Uno Mike, are we going to see you tomorrow? IMF Nambogia Baltimore, the most difficult crowd to mobilize. Are we going to see you?
Let me wake up first.
Okay.
Then we shall see.
Okay.
But at least nimekuja. Huyu hajaonekana.
Lakini ulikuja? Ulikuja saa ngapi?
Boss.
Okay.
Was I not handling another matter issue? Huyu ameonekana hapa huyu.
Yeah. So yes. So this is so what we're trying to do, for those who are not.
I'll be there.
Yeah, for those who are tuned in, if you know anyone in the DMV or within 5 hours of the DMV, that's Delaware, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, West Virginia. Please tell them to come tomorrow, because we're trying to make, we're getting this international. We are the only Kenyans in the world who can go to the doorstep of the IMF, and that's what we're doing. And we're trying for IMF to see that they have culpability, they have blood on their hands. I don't know whether there's been any deaths associated with protests related to IMF-inspired finance bills. So these are the first. The people have complained about them. People have complained about the structural adjustment programs and those policies that IMF, like colludes with treasuries and look the other side on how that money is spent, but they end up overtaxing the people and creating poverty. So we are trying to get the IMF to take responsibility. And here's the interesting thing. Last week, I think it was almost 2 weeks ago when we first announced this protest. I don't know whether it was coincidence, but IMF had stayed silent on this issue. But immediately after we did that, I think 24 hours after we announced this protest and distributed the flyers, IMF sent their spokesperson to give a statement on Kenya, and you can find that statement online and on video. So this is the impact that we are looking for, and we are gonna persist, because remember, we're also trying to call out American entities that are enabling President Ruto do what he's currently doing. Because remember, it's no coincidence that our policemen are in Haiti, and of course you saw they had gunfire. I think you guys saw that video. They had gunfire and quickly returned to the armored car. So things are not looking rosy out there, and we've seen them also guarding Western interests, including U.S. embassies. So this is the payback that America has for African countries. So these protests, we got the IMF. Eventually, we'll take them to the White House. We're gonna let like Biden sort himself, but we're gonna take this to the White House, because he was the one who was whining and dining Ruto just a couple of weeks ago. And notice Ambassador Meg Jepchirchir Whitman is nowhere to be seen. Let me read a few comments here. That's another one who needs to go, because these are the people who've been enabling Ruto to do all that he's been doing, and to the position, and I put him in the position where he is right now. Alan Otisi is saying, if history is anything to go by, Kalonzo is holding out for a better deal. And then Slay and Oliza one mic, surely. And then anamwambia one mic, amka please. Washeke says they should be fined if they don't go. Okay, sawa. So Washeke set the fine. I will be collecting them. Set the fine here. To be fair, you set the fine numbers, and then I will confirm if I've collected the fine. And then let me see, one mic anamwambia Washeke Texas is Madhogodhanio. I don't know exactly what that means, but we should know what it is. Fines. And then let me see, Slay anamwambia Washeke sponsor a trip to Maldives. Okay, I can see ideas coming up.
Ile bahasha ya Atlanta ndio ilikuwa inafaa kupeleka watu Maldives. Lakini hiyo bahasha tujuangi ilipotelea somewhere between BWI and Atlanta.
Maza hiyo bahasha hata tusiongeleze. Now this is a different moment in history we are in. Washeke anamwambia Uno Mike, you are just jealous of our zero income tax. That's Texas. Kenyan leo yuko active. Kenyan anasema, I'm not showing up for this protest since I don't agree with the premise that the IMF is responsible for our problems. Are they wolves? Yes. Are they devouring us? Yes. But that's what wolves do. The question is, why are we opening the doors for the wolves? This victim and helplessness needs to end, and we need to take responsibility for allowing wolves and stop blaming the wolf. Now, here's why we'll blame the wolf. The reason why we're going to blame the wolf is because the IMF, typically the money that comes from the IMF is supposed to strictly go for development. That's a side that they don't enforce. So technically what happens, think about, like you're a father and you have a household to run, you're running out of money, and then you have this person you have this loan shark who can give you money, and this loan shark knows that gives you money, you're going to gamble with the money. You're going to play around with the expenses of the home, but a majority of the money that you're getting, like utajifanya like, okay, hii pesa imeenda kusolve hii na hii na hii, then you take out your money from another tranche and you gamble. And this loan shark knows you're doing that, but they keep giving you money. And now there's blood. You see here, there's blood. The problem here is that there's blood that has been spilled.
But loan shark anakuja na kuambia nilipe pesa yangu, sina pesa, na kuambia uza mtoto.
But that's the nature of the wolf or the loan shark. That's their nature.
So you
will always see blood. It doesn't matter. They don't care.
And that's the reason why we have to try to hunt the wolf. If the wolf is coming and eating your sheep, at some point you have to get a gun.
No. Thank you.
At some point you have to get a gun.
Eliminate the wolf.
Yeah, and this is what we are trying to do.
But who's letting the wolf in?
Because this is what we are. This is what we are trying to. We are trying to.
When the farm hand
figure out.
When the farm hand,
we put the wolf on notice. We're coming for you.
Look at it this way: when the farm hand who has been given the job to take care of the farm by the farmer, right? It's told you go get seeds whatever way you want. And the wolf is the one with the seeds, and the wolf tells him, "Do this. This is the seed that I'm giving you. This seed, go plant it. You're gonna pay me back. And when it comes time to paying me back, you don't worry about it." And then the farmhand plants half the seed and sells part of the seed and doesn't give, and the farmer starts asking for work.
Yes.
And then the farmer realizes is that it's the wolf who's making the farmhand behave in a certain way. Then the farmer has a right to go after the farmhand and the wolf.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
both of them are affecting his farm.
Absolutely. And that's why we are going for IMF's jugular. And right now we're in a position where so many other African countries are watching what's happening in Kenya. It's very interesting. The two protests that we've had so far, we've had people from other countries coming in, and we did not even necessarily market this to people from other countries. We have people from Haiti, we have Ghanaians, we have Ethiopians, we have white people who are showing up for these protests. We just have people from random countries. We had a bunch of students in Howard University's journalism department just show up to see what exactly is going on. And this IMF issue is affecting so many other countries.
True.
It's affecting so many other African countries.
But I think
not even African, Latin American,
but I think
some
Latin
European
America too.
countries.
But I think on this one, there's something about Kenyan Jewish statement that I'm gonna let me pick up on that. And I think, in the first place, I think what at the end of it, the bottom line is we are fighting, or there's a fight for governance and accountability.
Absolutely.
That is it.
Yeah.
When you look at it, no matter what, it's governance and accountability, because hata watu wakiandamana, they're going to sit in the governors in the county hall, county assembly, whatever, requesting, we want to see the books, we want to see money's. I'm sure you guys have seen the video circulating of the guy who bought sodas for 1 million shillings.
I think that was Isiolo
Isiolo County, right?
Mm-hmm. And then
it's
there
all
was
about
Marsabit. They bought success cards.
Success
for
cards for 3.6 million.
Yeah.
Governance. Now, wolf. We know what a wolf is. We know what a hyena is. We know. But in as much, even when you entertain that wolf when it's a pup, it will still remain a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
My issue, again, I think will always end up with the people and the persons who are going, because remember, we're the ones who have elected these idiots. We elected them. Tukawapatia however you voted, majority voted, and they won. They're going with a begging bowl. But they're going with a begging bowl. They're going to the wolf. No matter what, because remember, in as much as, and the wolf is going to dictate the terms.
And you see,
right or wrong?
Yeah.
So in order for me to give you this loan, this is what I want you to do. Mchape austerity, muongeza taxes, mfanye hii. What you're going to do? You're going to come, you're going to do whatever you're told.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
Kama ni kunyanyasa, because again, you're being told what to do. However, we elected these guys to go, so wanakuja wanatunyanyasa. But saa zingine prior to now what's going on here, tulikuwa tu tunanyamaza, tunasema sawa, okay, whatever. But now punda imechoka.
Yeah.
So in one aspect we can blame, we will tell, this is more or less like a notice. Tunajua wewe ni, what do you call a wolf in Swahili?
Mbweha.
Mbweha si fox.
Wewe. Unajua tumeuliza msanii wa Kiswahili.
Mbweha ni fox.
Let's go with kaka mbweha.
So there's mbwa mwitu.
Aya, sawa, ni mbwa mwitu. Wewe sema ni mbwa koko, mbwa mwitu. Tunamwambia buda boss, wewe you're on notice, we know, tunajua vile unafanya, lakini ni sawa, wewe tutadeal na wewe. Hapa nyumbani we are dealing with these guys squarely, so that the next time that we are putting these guys on notice that hii ujinga tutaki. Because IMF themselves, they're like Mika said, they're loan sharks.
They are loan sharks.
That is it.
Yeah.
It is their terms.
And
you are coming to them and they give you their terms, unasema sawa.
Because it's being controlled by Americans and Europeans, they're using it as a tool to control certain things that happen in these countries. Because remember, these structural adjustment programs are the reason why, like they force privatization, and that's why they start killing certain industries, certain critical industries.
Agriculture, manufacturing.
That stop development in these countries.
Yes.
At the end of the day, is if these countries become sustainable, IMF and the World Bank don't have business.
They don't have business. Remember what Nathan said last week when he was here? The IMF has a finite number of clients. Like East Africa has only X number of countries. West Africa, so they have a finite number of clients. So they have to find a way of making these guys come back consistently.
Pay the loan.
But their prescriptions, this is the weirdest thing. Someone tell me one country in the world where IMF prescriptions has worked and have helped grow that economy. I'm not even asking for two. I'm asking for just one country in the world. They're the ones who are responsible for the death of manufacturing in Kenya,
Africa,
especially in the 90s, and that resulted in high unemployment. That resulted in high inflation. And you know what happens when your manufacturing base shrinks? You have to import goods. Guess where the imported goods are coming from? They're coming from the US, they're coming from Europe, and they're coming from all these other places. So they're serving these other places and they're not serving us.
No, so now I was listening to a presentation that was sent to me by Graz a while back. I think I shared it somewhere in a group. And this guy was actually taking up the model of that economic hitman. Whatever the story or the journey of an economic hitman, because the idea is to always make us subservient, like, because we have a lot of natural resources. So wanaenda wanalipa mtu kama Mika ndio president, wanamwambia buda boss, utachukua ama utachukui? Usipochukua sawa, tutapatia Ali anakuja na chapa insurgency, wewe unangolewa by force by fire, he takes over. But all the same time, while these guys are interfighting, Omosh, if he's from the Western world or government or whatever, he's just sucking away the resources.
Yeah.
Because yeye ndio amekufund. And because of him funding you, amekupatia trinket. The trinket is maybe 1 billion. But then the resources are worth 1 trillion.
Ndio hivyo sasa.
Yeah. And that's what's going on.
Yeah. So comments here. Msafiri 98 says weekday protests at the IMF more impactful in my opinion, but kesho tunafika. Thank you so much, Msafiri. Please, let's see you tomorrow. We're going to experiment. We're going to try a weekday. We've done Sunday. Tomorrow we're experimenting with Saturday. The tricky part about weekday is that a lot of people wanaenda kutafuta unga, and we just feel like it will be...
But in defense, to counter that, watu Kenya wanafanya nini weekday?
Because people are unemployed.
Yeah,
we're in a different situation.
No, but kuna watu who are working.
Majority of the youth are unemployed.
Compare right now.
And here I'm coming from I'm coming from a mobilizing perspective.
But even
Yeah.
us, even
How many people can you bring from Baltimore on a weekday?
Baltimore.
There you go.
Baltimore.
So
There you go.
hawezi ambia
So
watu
you see-
No, not even weekend. What a weekday. Weekend?
no,
Yeah.
wachana na Baltimore. Let's say for example right now we say let's send our kids out to protest. Wako shule.
I know.
Or
yeah.
they're doing something
Yeah.
on a weekday.
So
our numbers
weekday,
are so low over here.
I can
and
understand, like wanting to be there when IMF employees are actually there in the building so they can see us. But you have to understand the way these protests work.
Symbolic, though.
They will know whether they're working or whether they're home. Trust me, they already know we are coming.
washaambiwa.
They already know we're
Washaambiwa. Si permit imechukuliwa. So
Yes.
they've already been told.
Yeah, they've already been
this.
told. So I've already been contacted by people I know who work there, who are in support of us. But of course, they work there, so we understand that they can't, like
So
come out.
did they whisper in your ear and tell you Ali
Sasa
musikuje?
wewe umemwaga unga.
No, I mean, it's clear. These guys know.
Yeah,
they'll be targeted. They'll be
No, but the good thing in America, the good thing about America is that your politics is your politics.
Your
Doesn't
politics is
matter.
your politics, yeah. So I think they just would not want the optics of being seen out there. Both the World Bank and the IMF,
yeah.
the people who've contacted me and told
Their
me that,
sister
yeah,
companies.
yeah,
should I say
they know that you
entities.
guys are coming out there, so they know. And even after we protest, because the main idea is to get this out to the world. We have a system to get this out to media. Hopefully, we hope it's also going to get on American media, and that's what people will see. So I know there's that aspect of wanting, even when people go protest at the White House, most of the time the president is not in there.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, when he's there, you're not going to protest.
Yeah, most of the time the
You're
president is not in
gonna
there.
protest.
So this
President
No,
of
you-
IMF.
if you go
No,
protest
if you
at the
go
White
protest at
House,
the White House.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
President Biden, most of the time he's not in there.
Whichever president is there, when
Yeah.
he's around
Joe,
such
yeah.
when he's in the White House, you'll realize there's some streets in DC are usually not busy as they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have Stephen Jojo says the problem is simple. You don't put the wolf down, it will eat all the sheep. Then what next? Your guess is as good as mine. And then Stephen Jojo says we didn't elect them. Wafungue Sava, our constitution is clear, credible, and verifiable elections.
There's a thing what people don't realize is that why do people say that if you elected politicians, you're not supposed to go against them? Because I believe is those who elected them actually have every right to ask them questions because they elected them for a reason.
No, that's a lazy statement.
So
That's a lazy
it's
statement.
like your
by
boss
establishment
hiring
people.
you,
Yeah.
and then your boss can't ask you, are you not doing your job?
Yeah. Yeah. So Kenyan Diaspora here has another point. He says, here's my point. The moment we start telling the citizen that our problems are being caused by the IMF, we are deflecting blame and not holding our people responsible. Today we protest in front of the IMF. Kesha we go to New York and protest in front of the UN. Next week we are at the World Bank. Come on now. The problem of Kenya exists within the Kenyan borders. Stop asking people to go to protest to go protest predators. That is why they are called predators. Kenyan Diaspora, we just disagree with you. On this.
That is a
It's a valid point.
it's not a valid point. Even if Leah may understand. The thing is this: nobody has said that we are shifting the blame from the Kenyan government.
not.
And even when I said my analogy, what they say, you kill the wolf and the wolf and the farmhand, right? What were we? Because at the end of the day, even if you remove Ruto, right? We change our position. We remove Ruto. We
Wolf
still
bado
need to
yuko.
come back and beg the IMF for money.
True that.
So if the IMF knows that the citizens of the country understand and are watching this kind of deals that you're giving these presidents, the
Yes.
IMF will try to give deals that also for them in their view is a deal that doesn't kill the optics. At the end of the day, politics is optics.
Yeah.
So if the optics are dirtified,
Yes.
if the optics are
They'll
dirtified,
also be more careful.
they will be more careful.
Yeah.
And then so you saying
Agreed.
that we should we to Ruto, and then we put whoever we're going to put there, we'll be given the same kind of deals. Like you guys, this is where you stand financially, and it's just like the credit report. Ata unini like it doesn't matter if your credit is bad, whichever lender you go to, they'll give you bad terms for that credit.
Upper Slayer anasema Africa is waking up. Francophone countries kick them out. IMF better watch out. I don't know, that I'm not sure. Is it all Francophone countries that kick them out? Or
I
is it
think
certain?
she's saying most. There is a Francophone wave.
Yeah, so
There's
I
a
think
Francophone wave, right?
that's happening
but,
right
but,
now.
but kicking out IMF, this I think we need. This is a fact that we need to
and
bear.
No,
don't
not
know.
IMF.
I think she's saying
But then you see
those wakaburus and all of that. I think
which
that's what she
country kicked out
means.
the American army?
That was Niger.
Niger, right?
Yeah, that was Niger.
And then we've also
That
seen
was Sahel countries.
Yeah, we're also seeing the Sahel countries which are francophone, and of course, France.
They're coming and they're coming together.
Yeah, they're coming together and they're chasing away France. I think that's what she's meaning. By that.
Okay.
It's not necessarily the IMF, but then also them that they've leaned more east, and they've not leaned. They tell whoever, come with your best conversation and hear, because even
kuja tuongee.
kuja tuongee, waliambia Russia kuja tuongee.
Yeah, na msituletee mambo za policies.
And even if you've noticed right now, they're not leaning Russia that much.
No,
they were like
they actually Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali. They are forming, like a Sahel kind of union, because they're not agreeing with the Western leaning ECOWAS, because ECOWAS is too eager to do what the West wants. So they're kind of trying to detach themselves from ECOWAS. And then Slay says there were people who argued that this rejected finance bill will create room for local sanitary pads and diaper manufacturers, surely. And then Stephen JJ says, we are surely telling the predators, we have our eyes on you. A protest serves as to serve notice. Tumekuonea kwa 18. We might have internal issues, lakini pia wewe jichunge.
True. 100%.
Yes. And that's really what we're doing, because even a wolf, like if imezoea kuja kuona sheep, that's when you start implementing, like ways of preventing the wolf. So the wolf will also understand, like nikienda huku, like there's mechanisms where, because even animals
know if they know there's
they
traps,
can sense
but
danger.
but animals will not go where the traps.
They can sense danger.
If they know a certain area is
but it's important right now to serve notice, because I think that is the most important thing, to serve notice. Vile, like Mika amesema, farmhand na wolf.
Yeah.
Mmepatiwa notice.
Yeah. Kanju anasema they laugh at what you're calling notice when they see your president insert the same clowns back to his cabinet, ensuring the wolf's presence remains welcome. And this, of course, is not, it's not a one-day process. It's not a one-day process. Like even in the 90s when Kina Maina Kiai were protesting, like outside, because this would not be the first Kenyan protest outside these institutions and outside the embassy. People are protesting when Moi was president, when it was so dangerous that they had to cover their faces. Like they had to cover their faces in black so that they could not, that's how dangerous it was. It was, like a slow sausage-making process, but there was a lot of progress that was made from that. So this protest, it's never about, like a protest yielding results.
Like multipartyism. Multipartyism didn't come just from...
There was so much
from one day.
There was so much strife.
There was so
many people died.
There was violence that came out. There were molo clashes came out of the multipartyism.
Nyati House,
and it took years. Even before Saba happened, it took years for it to happen. It's just the same way when you can say fine. Ruto is not going to go without a fight. Ruto is going to try to preserve himself. He's going to try to preserve the deeds that he's done over here, right? Because he's under pressure. He was given things when he came here.
Yes.
He was given things.
He's under pressure, yeah.
So he's under pressure from both sides. So he'll try. So yes, let them laugh, right? Let them laugh. But he who laughs last
laughs loudest.
Yep. I thank you, because I was going to say, number one, at the initial clamor for the repeal of 2A. Si alikuwa anacheka?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and like there are so many other things, and I like people understanding that this is not like the corporate world. Like mambo ya politics, sometimes it's just a very tough and rough sausage making process.
But bro, si Gachagua alisema, what are we, stakeholders?
Shareholders.
Oh, shareholders.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Carry
But
on.
now you see
who is who?
Ruto is.
Who told us we are like Kenyans?
We were not.
You know, this narrative that
He said those who voted
Those
for
who
those who
voted.
voted.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
that's what he said.
The shareholders.
Yes, those are
Yes.
the
So-
shareholders.
So,
the
so, so you
shareholders.
Nyangaos are not. Mukwende.
Yes.
But then look at it this way: there is narrative that Allah is pushing, right? And Allah is pushing this narrative of Uhuru
Who?
is a lie.
Aye.
If you've realized, it's only a lie who tries to push it.
Let me tell you.
And
that
it's
narrative,
that narrative that,
will
that
not
Uhuru
catch.
and Gachagua want to overthrow the country, right? Because number one, he understands that when Kenyans didn't really hold Uhuru on a high standard in terms
True.
of him being as a president and,
Yeah.
and that, right? And then they see that the narrative of Ruto becoming president was done wrong by Uhuru, like Waliko Sana
Yeah.
alikuwa ametupwa kando, right? So he's trying to push that, and then he's trying to push that narrative of killing the Murima power or togetherness. So he's trying to push that narrative of trying to find an enemy that people can unite against, and that enemy is going to be Murima, Central, Mount
Yeah.
Kenya, right? So when you start seeing things like that, if Uhuru was trying to organize a coup with Gachagua, those guys are not above the law. There's a law which deals with people who do treasonous acts.
Yeah.
The government could have dealt with them easily. Quite it is. So when you start seeing things like this being pushed out, things that are peddled out like this, right? You see desperation whereby somebody has to go back and recycle what they were trying to recycle. Desperation whereby we are seeing a reshuffle on the guy fired his attorney general. He fired his lawyer, hired an attorney general who can't qualify based on the constitution, has not practiced law for those 15 years that is required to be practicing law. And there's somebody you're trying to hire to be your government lawyer. So basically you're trying to hire somebody who you can tell them to do things the way you try to do, to a point where you kidnap the kid of your attorney general when you're fighting this thing. It just shows desperation. So yes, we will take the laughter right now. We will take him trying to disorganize him to try and use. Wewe mwenyewe umesema wanatumia VHS. Wacha utumie VHS. At the end of the day, it's going to be a painful, long process. Whoever holds out the most will win. But at the end of the day, there's damage done.
Now, talking of kidnapping, this week we saw the kidnapping of Macharia Gaido, a veteran journalist, and then later on DCI.
He was arrested. Let's not. Why are you guys calling it kidnapping? He was arrested.
It was kidnapping. You know, like Omosh. You know, like
aliingishwa ndani ya gari kataki.
No, look, we are at a point in Kenya where we need to stop this thing of being politically correct or being, because we have a very evil government. Macharia Gaido was inside a police station.
Correct.
He was inside a police station, and then other people who were in plain clothes came and bundled him in a car in the presence of police.
Another thing that I've never realized I've never understood in Kenya, why do the police feel the need to use fake number plates?
Because they know that what they're doing is wrong. Now, okay, so Kenya is a very interesting place.
So already that's an illegal.
Yes, it's illegal.
If it's an illegal arrest, is that an arrest or a kidnapping?
Do you know that a uniformed policeman cannot arrest you unless he sees you commit the crime?
Yeah, so they have a warrant.
The only people who can do that are CID or the DCIs. Those are the people who can arrest you because they are investigating an active case. That is why you see them do what they do.
But then, Omosh, isn't it the case of whereby when detectives arrest you,
correct,
right? They're supposed to arrest you when they're ready to press charges on you. They don't arrest you when they're investigating.
Yeah,
correct. Meaning they had already investigated and there's evidence and they're ready to go to take you to court.
And then when detectives come to make an arrest, they usually come with a uniformed police.
They do come with a uniformed police.
Because there has to be identification that
you are very correct. Yes, but also the guys who are coming as the detectives need to then now have evidence,
But-
right?
but
A
these
file or
guys-
whatever it
But
is.
these guys don't do that. They
these
don't come.
guys-
They don't come with uniform
It's
police, and they don't.
strictly intimidation 101.
No, it's
period.
kidnapping. It's not
It's
intimidation.
kidnapping.
Okay, you want
It's
to
kidnapping.
we can call it anything
No,
we want,
no,
but
it's
it's wrong.
wrong. No,
not
no,
calling
we're
it
not calling it
kidnapping.
Mosh.
Either way, it's wrong.
kidnapping.
Either way, it's wrong.
No, we're not.
Kidnapping,
It's not-
abduction, it's
okay,
wrong.
Okay, you can use the word wrong, but it's kidnapping.
It's against the law.
Kidnapping. Yeah.
Let's call it kidnapping. It's
okay.
and why we're calling it kidnapping
And,
is because what's
By the way, I
happening
agree
right now.
with you guys.
What's happening right
I do
now?
agree with you guys.
It's kind of like there's a parallel state where like even these cops sometimes they don't even know.
They don't know.
Because Kenya has habeas corpus, meaning when you arrest someone, you're supposed to produce them within 24 hours to a court of law. So some of them, and that's
Yes.
why there's that issue of Kamata Fridays, because 24 business hours will have you held until Monday. But
Yes.
some of these people who've been abducted, they've been held in incommunicado for more than 48 hours.
Correct.
For more, some have
Bila
been
charge, bila anything.
found, anything.
And then
Some
they're
have been found
released.
dead.
Then they're released.
Yeah.
And when they come out, they're like, you under
None of
what
them are
happened to
being
them.
released.
No, you're right. Mika,
So
you're
the
right.
ones, and especially the ones who are being released quickly, are the ones where there's video evidence, and there's
Na
people
kuna-
And there's
And
lawyers, and
place.
there's lawyers, and
And
the
there's
lawyers following them and going to
looking for them from
Yeah,
station to
because you see,
station.
DCI was quick to release a statement that they are not looking for Macharia Gaido. They are looking for Francis Gaido,
Yes.
But
the
then,
guy
so
on
doesn't that,
Instagram.
doesn't that, so first of all, the president came in front of the nation and said there are no abductions.
There's no more, abductions or whatever.
He said there is no abduction, there's no arrests, there are no
Yeah.
nothing, right?
What
He
is
said
the thing here
everything
that
is
I
going to
want?
be followed. And then even the DCA said they were not abducting people. But then when they caught Macharia Gaido, right, they made a statement. So does that statement prove that it's them who have been kidnapping people?
Yes,
Because they were
well, it
denied they were not
started-
doing
It
it.
does. It does. And
Yeah, it
and
does.
okay, and what? Because he was abducted, but they said that was an arrest. If that's an arrest, wow. Anyway, they called that an arrest, right? And he was abducted, and they put it on paper. Plain paper said, "Oh no, there was a mistaken identity. We arrested the guy. Blah blah blah. Yada 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 yada." Now, had no one had evidence and posted that,
But let me ask you something.
go ahead.
You're a detective,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're investigating Francis Gaido.
Yes.
How do you confuse Macharia with Francis?
Because they both have Gaido.
Yeah,
But I'm
No,
just
it's not the
saying-
point. That's the only reason
No,
they have.
that's what it is. They're trying to tell us.
Let's
That's
not-
the story they're
let's not-
selling,
let's not
that they're
pretend that
both-
Macharia
that they're
Gaido-
both Gaido.
Let's not pretend that
That's
Macharia
what
Gaido
they are
had.
selling us.
Let's not pretend that Macharia
yeah.
Gaido had 2 days ago had not written an article that was
Correct.
scathing to the government,
yeah.
right?
And it was an opinion piece.
And
it
it-
wasn't. It was, and he was just laying out facts as they were.
And then this is mimi wambia watu angalia bloggers when they're hired by the government, they're never far from the truth because they're given a script to follow, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right before this arrest happened, what did Alai post? That the media is being used by Uhuru to overthrow the government, right? And he pointed out that there's never been, and he tried fighting Kinalaria Kona Hawa Yazani. Now they're protected by bigger powers. Then he turned to Kenyan media and he started pointing out and attacking the media. And then what happened, right? Like he did post that on Monday, on Sunday evening. Then we come and find out right after there was that People's Assembly on X, right? And then Gaido's piece came out. So the thing is, the DCI uses Safaricom to find people's locations.
So wrong.
If they wanted Francis Gaido,
So
wangepata
wrong.
Francis Gaido
Yeah.
pale yuko. And when Francis Gaido took himself to the DCI with his lawyers, what did they charge him for? Misuse of a computer, right? Ati kitu alisema kwa space. That's what they charged him for, right? lakini huyu akishika walikuwa nasema wale wakishika nini mashari walikuwa nasema for incitement, right? For incitement using the media to incite people. Now the thing is, if a government blogger comes out and says that the media is being used to overthrow the government, then we start seeing attack on the government. And then Gaida wasn't the only media person who was attacked. Kina nani Linus, kina Yvonne, nani, their phones were leaked out, and the government tried to accuse them of being paid or bought to discredit the government, right? And ask people kuwasalimia. Yes. And the people waliwasalimia, but in a good way.
Yeah, no, that thing totally backfired.
Like it totally backfired on them.
Totally backfired.
So, for me, you cannot come and tell me that this was an arrest that was mistakenly done while you've been tracking people using their phones.
You know, Mika, I think part of the reason why governments, especially this one, has been getting away with murder is because of always people giving them the benefit of doubt. And that needs to stop, because people have been killed.
Correct.
People have popped up mysteriously in quarries, you know, and especially those people who are caught on the lawn of the parliament, the day when people breached the parliament perimeters. A lot of those people got killed. Now, there was the guy who said, "Mr. Speaker, sir." That guy has disappeared completely. I don't know, you know, like whether he's alive.
The guy with the mess was found dead.
Yeah. So these people, they're out there. So there's a killer squad and there's an abduction squad.
Yep.
You know, and this is actually very dangerous. And that's the reason why this needs to be called out as it is. You know, this idea of trying to, you know, like come and imitate talking points coming from government spokespersons, you know, like when people are dying. I mean, that time is gone. You know, like that time is gone, because after June 25th, the character of Kenya has completely changed. I mean, I hope we're going to see this through the ballot, but the character has completely changed. Remember, a K24 journalist was also shot.
Yeah.
3 times.
Covering the mandamano.
In full press gear.
Another one from CNN.
That was beaten up, right?
Yeah, a cop alimshoot nini.
In the thighs. Is that the one?
No, yeah, not thighs. He shot him with
K24.
K24. The CNN one was shot with
tear gas canister
on his balls.
Oof. So you see, this is where, you know, like this needs to stop. This needs to stop, and that's why I'm really appreciative of the Gen Zs, because they have released that inner courage that had always been suppressed amongst Kenyans, and this thing of always saying, "Oh no, let's wait the next election cycle." There's no such thing.
We've been waiting.
Let's deal with this now.
We've been waiting for a while.
Because
hizi comments zinakuja mbaya, yani nyinyi watu mnafanya nipigwe hapa nini, I'm being slapped, I'm being kicked over here sana yani. Yani Kenyan Diaspora amesema nisalimiwe. Yani he has said this almost character needs to go. Wengine wanasema sijui nimewaangusha, sijui there's I don't know.
So let me read from here.
Baba.
Slay says it will take some time, and like Ali said, we will have to wait and see how people vote in 2027. So slow but sure. And then James Olongo says this is a referendum on Rao. I think Ruto banking on his support, the promise to Sumkate cabinet. And then Slay says those kidnappings are eerie. It's not an arrest. Kenyan Diaspora saying, Ali, you're completely watering down the point being made. It would be naive for us to think that a protest held outside the IMF offices on a weekend would make them change course. The IMF is an arm of the Western government, and the allegiance is only to their shareholders. not to the African countries, and willfully the theft of their resources. The protest is nothing short of opportunistic. Okay, your opinion, Kenyan Jui, that's okay. You know, and I'm sure there's a lot of Kenyan Jews, you know, like in previous protests. Like, remember, there was a Kenyan Jew who we're not going to mention, who was saying something about this Gen Z protest and that they're not going to achieve anything. So there's a lot of Kenyan Jews, you know, like who sometimes maybe may not see the long-term game, but it's okay. History is always a vindicator. And then Washeke says it was abduction, the police, and they admitted it to the whole world. Slay says, if it's an arrest, why would they be pushing you into a car and not even cleanly stating why you're being arrested? Evidence that he wrote an article that was not in support of the president. This needs to stop. Kenyan Jewish says, Omosh, what is your point? It's not simply semantic. Ati Omosh says, kidnapping is abducting. Call you what you want. It's not just words. There are actions that differentiate the two. It's a difference between rape and making love. There are different terms of sexual intercourse. And then Slay says, Omosh, your Lakeside membership shall be revoked. Washeke says, did Isaac Maura also say...
quitting the show.
So Washeke says, did Isaac Maura also say people have confused him for someone else? Okay, that's very weird. But
oh yeah, he said he was confused. What's the name of this?
Yeah,
he's been confused as a politician, but dude is a politician. See,
yeah,
that's why he got this job.
And then Kenju is asking, what is Omosh's point? I'm yelling, we are still fishing bodies out of quarries. Extrajudicial killings are in full swing. Please help me understand Omosh's point. Washeke anasema Omosh umetuangusha leo. Kenyanju anasema Omosh, I think we need to send someone to salimia you. Or I may say WhatsApp, same thing. And then Awar is who is coming to IMF Kesho. Awar, I think you missed the earlier part. Washeke will be releasing the fine amount for the people. Out of the 4 people here in studio who's not going to show up, they will have to pay a hefty fine. Washeke will be releasing that amount, and we will know shortly.
Maybe they're gonna
reason
that way.
Hold on. And even if if we show up, are you gonna get something?
Well,
maziwa mala or maziwa nyayo na biscuit.
That's the question.
And then
maziwa mala na biscuit.
And then Tabitha,
mnajua Moshi alikuwa ironical hapa. Mbona mnaingilia Moshi ni kama
no, unajua kwa nini lazima Moshi aingiliwe? Because I know sometimes because we've been previously accused of being biased. I mean, of course, history has vindicated us. So I think you know, like, no, I think, you know, it's important to try to distinguish, you know, like conversations where you're allowed to play devil's advocate.
True.
And situations where people are dying, where there's only one side of the story. You know, where there's only one side of the story, I think, you know, like in such situations, then let's listen to the other side. Let's listen to their point of view. Maybe they were actually arresting and not abducting. No, they were abducting and they've been killing. These guys have been killing live on camera.
What?
Oh yeah.
No, they've been killing live on camera.
Actually,
you know, like they've not. It's not a secret.
Almost.
They've been blowing people's brains live on camera.
You
are on your own.
Look at this. I've seen in a movie somebody get their head shot.
Apana.
Right?
Yeah.
I've seen somebody getting killed, like in front of me, right? But I've never seen somebody who's peacefully protesting getting shot on live TV without care.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw that. And that thing was very traumatic. Like,
and you know some of these people who are shooting, they're also in plain clothes. Apparently some of them are from Uganda.
So this is the thing. This is how it was in Citizen. If anybody was watching that day of Occupy Parliament, the guy for Citizen, he was with the cops but walking back, right? Like he was walking behind. You could see other news people running with the cops, kabisa. But yeah, he was at a strategic point whereby if he turns like this, he sees the protesters there, If he turns like this, the cops are right in front of him, like our Kombali Sara. He captured that guy in a blue suit.
Yeah, the guy was kneeling.
down.
The guy was kneeling down
yeah,
with
and
that melee AR.
Yeah.
And the guy, when the guy aimed, the guy turned the camera like this. And 3 guys were shot up by that guy who kneeled.
Yeah, say
On live
AR-15.
TV.
So
Yeah. And then I think Citizen cut the broadcast, then wakamrudisha akikimbia nini.
in a defense, yes.
No, walimrudisha bado but that guy captured a lot. Before he was
Yes.
pulled down, and he captured a lot. Like him, he captured a lot. Then Apollo Citizen wakaanza kurotate different people. But there was this guy who sijui alikuwa na GoPro ama nini, nekuwa inakaka ile kamera kubwa.
Yeah.
Because the quality was capturing it. This guy captured a lot. And you cannot tell me people who decide. And watch, that one is okay. Not okay. That one is nasema si mbaya sana. Somebody ordered snipers to take out people from the rooftop.
Correct.
Yeah, those were orders coming from somewhere.
Alafu you know, for you to deploy a sniper, it has to be called in, inafaa kuwa signed in to a snipers watoke. Because since when the snipers
On protests.
monitor protests?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Protests.
So-
yeah.
And strategically placed on the roof,
Yes.
have the long range rifles and all of that.
and take out
the city-
people.
Yes.
So-
yeah.
When you call out somebody who called out the military on civilians, ni kama civilians wako wapi? You call out the military when
and
there's
then
war. Hata huku national,
it was right the next
hata
day.
huku ni national guard huitwa na wanakujanga bila gun.
Yeah, and you know the military was
Yeah.
called the next day, which shows how cowardly.
Not the next day. The military was called that night.
That
it was
night.
called that night.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then it was
night.
officially
It was
officially
signed-
gazetted
They
Yeah.
signed,
the next
they
day.
backtracked. They signed.
But this shows you how cowardly this president is.
So-
because the last time the military was deployed in Kenya, there was a coup.
There was a coup, yeah.
Yeah, that's when the military was last deployed on the streets.
Hii ni kwa ufupi unasema huyu ni mtu unataka he's not gonna cowardly abduct people and go do to them whatever it is they're doing to them. Uko.
And then he called them treasonous on that same day,
Yeah.
which means he wanted to kill a few people.
There are no arrests that are happening here.
So yeah.